Growing up, Mama Mai and I were very close. I honestly think I am a television host and an entertainer today because of Mama Mai. She taught me how to.
That she's about to talk about what happened to her when she was a kid. The things that planted the seed to make her the type of woman who has no heart that can connect. So when I say a woman doesn't have a heart, I mean, yes, she has a heart. She has to love something. She may love her children. She may love her family. But she can't connect. She doesn't have enough left to connect because she feels like connections, emotional connections, spiritual connections. If you connect with the wrong person, then you're going to be destroyed like she is, and she can't trust anyone else.
Shine. You taught me how to talk to people, relate to people. You taught me how to do my makeup, how to put on my clothes and wear bright colors. When my second brother was born, there were 3 kids in the house now. Mama Mai had to take on a second job. So she became very busy. We needed to find a babysitter. So we called upon a family member. This family member came over every single day and stayed with me after school and became a really cool, iconic person in my life. This person was about 16, 17, and I was 9.
You saw the look her mama gave her. Huh?
I remember dyeing my hair black because of this person, listening to The Cure. If you can imagine, like, being about 9 years old at that time, you're just super impressionable and everything cool from skateboarding. Mama Mai, you're...
My phone.
Really?
Yeah, I told somebody to turn it up. Why did you turn it on?
Mom, you turn... Anyway.
Now let me tell y'all something, man. I want y'all to understand, and I want all of y'all to know, never leave your little girl around boys of a certain age. I don't care who they are. If you got kids that have a huge gap between them like that, 16, 9, that means that when the 16-year-old was 9, the 9-year-old was 2. That type of gap, or even a gap smaller than that, you never allow teenage boys around your daughters at any time. I'm talking about even their cousins. You never leave them unattended because you and I know where teenage boys' minds are. And we know at that age, that urge can be so strong that if your family isn't based in the Most High and you have no spiritual strength, then your lust and your demons and deviations will ruin you. They will lead you. If you have no connection with the Most High, then everything around you that feels good, looks good, tastes good, sound good, smell good, you are going to be led like a horse to like a ox to the slaughter. You understand? Like a bird to a net, not knowing that net finna trap his wings, he'll never be free again. That is how you are going to live. So you must understand this. Understand who you're around. Understand the people you're around. Always protect your seeds, man. Keep in mind that you are their first line of defense. And it's your job to do that.
Like I was saying, I really looked up to this family member who was babysitting me. We became very close. And I just remember one day, this person sitting really close to me, we were playing video games, and he started to touch my thigh. And I just remember the whole time I keep thinking, this is my family member. I know him like this. I've known him for this long. He's taught me this. He's allowed in my house. This is cool. This is okay. And I also was just stunned because I've never been intimately touched like that. So I couldn't tell if it was wrong. I just knew I was noticing it. I was almost narrating it in my head, but I also just kept playing the video games. Every day, the touching continued a little bit more. Him taking off some of my clothes. We used to have the bathroom in your room. I remember him pulling me into that shower, and it was the first time I've ever seen a grown man and what he looked like. I was still 9 years old. I remember him telling me to touch him in certain ways. When I picture it, I just see flashes of things. I remember seeing the color of my clothes. I remember seeing blue jeans, and then my blue underwear, my green shirt that my mom bought for me. And this happened every day for a few weeks, and then it turned into months. And I remember 1 year going by. I didn't want to say anything because I was afraid. Honestly, because I knew you and Dad were struggling with money.
The first thing I want to point out is you see how for it's impossible for you to complain at people dissecting your life. Like, how can you live a life where you actively want people to dissect your life, your personal life, where you drag your family through it and all of that? Where, yes, somebody could dig and dig and dig, but you offer it to them freely. So your life is based on creating a response to the things that you let the world know about you. Let me tell you something, boy. Any woman who want to live that life will do anything for the bag. Even marry a man she ain't interested in for the bag. Even be with a man she's only with so she can feel better about herself. You got to think about this. Around that time, she was on Dancing with the Stars. She hurt her leg. She broke her leg or something, broke her ankle or something. So that put her down in the dumps because you got to think about it. She was in a position where one more child made her mama had to work 2 jobs. Now at that point, y'all hold on for a minute, man. She was just at a point where one more child in the house, 3 children, made her mama had to work 2 jobs and her dad was already in the house now. I want you to think about that. So I want y'all to understand this. It was her dad must have already had 2 jobs. The reality is, I'm gonna be honest with you. Worst case scenario, she grew up in a home with a single mom. And you know what? I think that's what happened, man. Maybe she grew up in a home with a single mom. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not gonna do that much research into nobody's life. You understand? If I don't find the facts as I'm piling my story together, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I don't dig into people's life. I'm not gonna tell you nothing about nobody's personal life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna tell you nothing. There's nothing we can do by exposing something about somebody's life that they ain't never told. Nothing we can do about we cannot benefit from doxing anyone in any kind of way. You know what I'm saying? There's no benefit we can get from that. So there's no lesson in doxing. Their personal information, there's no lesson in that. There's a lesson in the mistakes people make in public and show the world their mistakes and end up getting the ending that happens when you make a bad decision. There's a lesson in anybody who's going to share. So I really applaud these people sometimes for being open about things, because that gives a whole lot of lessons that people can learn. Because if you don't have examples around you to see anything that I say, then to you, it's just going to be me talking. You're not going to know what it looks like. So I point out these situations to give you an example of what it looks like, to give you an example of how it develops from early on, to give you an example of how you can live life with your eyes closed and then wonder why all these stones keep falling on your toes. It's because you ain't got your eyes open, you ain't got your ears open, and you can't smell nothing with your running nose. I'm telling you, brothers, stop living in a world where you are just accepting things that you shouldn't accept. Stop living in that world. As you get older, man, you don't have to accept getting sick. You don't have to accept diabetes. You don't have to accept heart disease. You don't have to accept any of those things. You can live a life that avoids those things or gives you a great chance of avoiding those things. Let's finish this, man.
And I knew that we had to have a babysitter, so I was afraid of getting him in trouble because then who would watch over us? And you were always really tired because you had 2 jobs and you were stressed out. And I never thought to come and bring more issues to you. He said certain things that made me afraid of making you angry at me. He would say things like, which is like, your mom's gonna hit you if you talk about the family. Or, không ai tin đâu. Nhiều người nghĩ là con gái điên lắm, which is like, nobody's gonna believe you. People think little girls like you are crazy. I would just come home and go to my room, and I just kind of knew that he would come in at some point, and there was nowhere in my house to run to. This went on for a long time, for a few years. I'm a teenager, I'm like 13, 14. And I remember getting quieter, and I started getting nightmares. I felt like you and I grew farther from each other because you were working so much. I approached my mom, and I tried to tell you what had happened. You were in the kitchen, you were cooking something. And I remember telling her, almost like pleading with her, like, I don't like this person. I don't want to stay at home with him anymore. Please stay home with me. I remember you were confused. I think you thought we were fighting, like kids fighting, right?
That's what I thought.
Do you remember this moment?
Yeah, I thought.
And this is what happens, man. I'll finish that. That was a bad place to stop. But I'll say this. When you think about the fact that she was 9 and then she was 13, By 13, your parents think you can kind of handle yourself a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just assume that you can handle yourself a little bit. But we're talking about something that started when she was 9. So not only are we talking about the situation, we're talking about the damage of the situation going on forever. So if it started when she was 9, went on for a year, that means it stopped when she was 10, and she didn't say anything about it for 3 more years. So 4 years after it started, not only did she deal with it, but she kept it bottled up. And then she put the energy out into the world of a kid who has that bottled up and got that energy back. So her life was in shambles. That's the type of kid that runs away and goes out and wilds out and live life and then try to settle down. There's 3 things that I'm hearing here. I'm hearing that she was in a house with a single mom with 3 kids. If this woman would, it's rare. It's very rare that a woman who has 3 kids in the house and she's by herself, that all of those kids are from one father. It's just rare. It's the same thing. A man who doesn't have a wife but has 3 kids, is rare that those 3 kids are from one father. It's just rare. All of us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, gone are the days where people just, I remember a time where people would stay together. They never got legally married, man. They'd be together till they die. Till somebody die. You know what I'm saying? They'll just be together until then. And you got to understand, man, until it gets to a total life decision where one person want to move away and the other person has an obligation, like a sick parent or something like that, where they want to stay, and then those people just slide. But it doesn't happen at all now. So you got to think about that. Her mom has purple hair. Purple hair is thought attire. Like purple hair and bright red hair. Hey, man, listen. I'm talking about that burgundy red hair, like the burgundy, the red version of that color. Come on, man, who does that? If Jennie Mai is in her 40s, this woman got to be in her 60s at least. I mean, she could have started younger than that, but if Jennie Mai, I mean, if she's 40 in her 40s, then this woman has to be at least. I mean, she could be 57 or something like that, but maybe not. But she got to be at least in her 60s under normal circumstances. She's still wearing purple hair. Because like I told you earlier, we live in a world where it doesn't matter what she does. She is free to do whatever she wants to do. And you and I can't say anything about it. Her freedom has nothing to do with us. That's one thing I want you men to understand. A woman's freedom has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. Her freedom is based on the society she's in, saying, you know what, woman, no matter what you do, you're free. You are free to do whatever you want to do, because we're going to make sure that you ain't got to lock yourself down to no man that's going to make you a better version of yourself. You ain't got to lock yourself down to a man that if you follow him, he going to put you in a position where we can't rely on you to be, a mental slave to, a financial slave to what we have going on in this society. Then we need to keep you away from that. So we need to let him share his wisdom with other men. We don't care what they know. We already know we ain't gonna get them. Listen, just like the devil know a woman's mind, a woman's idle mind is a playground. He ain't even got to bring no lunch. He go out there and play and run around and just run all kind of circles around him. Have him doing all type of things, living all type of life, looking at all type of things is positive. You know what I'm saying? All in the craft, all in all these other things. But he know that a man idle mind, even if a man mind is idle, he know he got to bring a hard hat. He got to bring a lunch, because it's going to be an all-day job. It ain't going to be no playtime. They're going to be a warehouse setting. They're going to be a construction site. It ain't going to be fun and pretty like the playground. It ain't going to be like that. All that nice grass and them trees and flowers. It ain't going to have that. It's going to be all gravel. It's going to be gravel with cement in the warehouses, whole bunch of big iron, heavy metal, baby. You're going to have to come with it, and you're going to get dirty. So hopefully you took a bath before you came, because you're going to get stinky while you're here if you didn't. That's what we have to understand. And so she lives in a world where a 60-something-year-old woman can wear purple hair and be lauded for it. Oh, she's so bold.
You guys fighting all the time. You said you don't like him, so I thought you fight. That's it.
So I remember the words I was saying was trying to get my mom to just get him to leave, but I also wasn't able to say it clearly because I don't even know what that word is in Vietnamese, that someone's touching you. Like,
this woman just said in her native language, she don't know how to say someone's touching me. She just sat and said right now, I don't even know what that word means. So she's basically gaslighting the situation, saying that she didn't tell her mama because she didn't know how to say it. Instead of just saying, I just didn't tell you. If a woman would get her mama on TV and gaslight her and throw her under the bus like that, how you gonna trust her in your life, man? But Jesus probably never saw that. Man, this may be one of the things he saw that said, wait a minute, You talking to your mama like that? Cause let me tell you something. If she blame her mama for that, she has no strong relationship with her mama. And if her daddy wasn't even around to even call and do nothing for it, she have no strong relationship with her dad either. Now, if a woman had no strong relation with either of those, she had better be in a position where she ready to just shut her mouth and listen to everything you tell her because she don't know nothing. Whatever her age is, she's way behind on life because she's way behind on knowledge.